Hello, my name is Fazeela Gopalani and I am the Head of Education for ACCA for the Middle East. Welcome to our Facebook Live session on uncovering the examiner's reports for the taxation paper. So you've got your exam in a couple of weeks, and what I did is read through the examiner's comments, and I've come up with a list of a few things I would like to talk to you about. So as you know, 60% of the exam is covered in Section A and Section B, which are objective test questions. In Section A, you've just got the objective test questions, and in Section B, you will have a case with 5 objective test questions around that case and scenario. You must read the scenario carefully and you must read the question carefully, because in the objective test questions, the marking allocation is 2 marks or 0 marks. No partial marking, no half marks, no 1 mark. So you must ensure that you take time to read the question and, to the best of your capability, answer them correctly. Now, let's go on to Section C. Section C is a section that is quite often rushed by students. They don't give it the ample amount of time that it deserves, which is actually 40% of the time allocation for that exam. And that's because they spend too much time on Section A and B. However, what you've got to understand is that in Section C, there is a possibility of getting partial marks, half mark, 1 marks. There is also a concept of own figure rules or method marking. What does this mean? This means that if you are calculating an income tax computation and you have miscalculated the employee benefit, the company car allowance, and you get that number incorrect, but everything else thereafter is correct, and your methodology is correct, you will get the rest of the marks. You don't lose the marks for not getting the tax number 100% correct. And therefore, you really need to take your time out and make sure you are answering this question to the best of your capability. Now, if you are doing an upcoming computer-based exam and not a paper-based exam for tax, well, that's fantastic. But it's only fantastic if you are using the spreadsheet to perform your calculations. Presentation in your tax exam is very important. When you present, you must ensure that you have the headings, blank lines, spacing, columns in between your pro forma and the workings. And there must be a clear link between the workings and the final number that you want to present. So for example, you've been asked to prepare an income tax computation, and you've got, first of all, employee benefits, employment benefits, and then you've got, say, dividends, and then you've got rental income. You must link all of this up to the workings, clearly demonstrating where will the marker find the final number of 25,000 or whatever it is that you've calculated. Where is he going to find the breakdown for this? You must also, if possible, try to put some of the calculations in the cell itself. So for example, if you're doing a salary for a person who's employed and they've only been in the job for 9 months, that's a very easy calculation not to have to do a separate working for. You can just put it into the cell, 5,000 times by 9 months, and automatically the number is provided for in the cell. What does that mean? That the marker who is going to be marking your paper can have visibility on the cell formula. Another great thing about spreadsheets is you can copy paste the formulas. And so that's a very good thing for a tax exam, because there are some of the formulas that are similar. So you just have to make a few changes. When you're doing a corporation tax question or an income tax question where it's an adjustment to trading profits, please be careful and take your time out to ensure that you are adding or deducting the numbers that you should be and what are the rules behind it. Another very important thing, there are some benefits that have no adjustment, that don't need to have anything done to it. Therefore, please ensure you put the number 0 or leave it blank. But you must show the marker what did you do with that adjustment. Don't just ignore it. The marker does not know what is in your head. They're not telepathic, and they're going to know that actually mobile phone was exempt. So wherever you have an exempt benefit, ensure you either put 0 or you say the word exempt benefit. Dates. Dates are very important in a tax exam. You can't go into an exam thinking, oh, I don't need to know when income tax is paid or when inheritance tax is due, because in this exam there will be some questions asking you dates of payments. So you must know 9 months and 1 day for corporation tax, 6 months after the date of death for inheritance tax, 31st of January for income tax. These are dates that you need to be aware of. Tax is a subject where you need to practice questions. The more questions you practice, the more you see the differences in those questions, the easier this exam is going to be for you. For those of you out there that love number crunching, for those of you out there that chose to do accountancy because you like the numbers, you are going to love this exam because this is a number crunching exam. However, you need to ensure that you're taking time out and not just reading textbooks, because that's not how you're going to pass this exam. You're going to pass this exam with practicing lots of ACCA standard past exam questions. Corporation tax. Please be careful when you have got tax rates, because tax rates sometimes are different for 2 separate financial years. And if you've got an accounting period that falls into 2 financial years, then you're going to have 2 different tax rates to deal with. Don't make the mistake and not look at the formula sheet, because you can look at the formula sheet in order to see what the percentages are. Have you spent time looking at that formula sheet, seeing what is made available to you? If you haven't, you need to do that. Another couple of things is inheritance tax. So when you're calculating the death estate, make sure you understand all the rules behind what you include under the death estate rules. Now, what happens in the tax subject is you're learning what? Income tax, corporation tax, you're learning inheritance tax, capital gains tax, and VAT. And sometimes some of the rules get a little bit confusing. For example, the annual allowance number for inheritance tax and the annual allowance for capital gains tax. So please make sure you're able to separate these taxes and that you're able to know the difference between these taxes. Capital gains tax is sometimes seen as a tricky area for students, especially where you've got reliefs such as rollover relief, entrepreneurs relief. Take your time out to learn the rules. Tax exam is a very methodical exam. You've got formulas and you've got rules and you've got step 1, 2, 3, 4. Follow those steps to come to the answer. If the question is asking you to compare 2 taxes, and read the question carefully, because it might just say, what is the difference? In that case, all you need to do is calculate the difference. However, if it asks for an explanation, please ensure that you do write down a simple 1 or 2 sentence explanation on the difference. Fantastic. Well, good luck for your upcoming tax exam in December. Please make sure you take the time to read the examiner's report so that you understand in detail common mistakes that other students have made in the past so that you don't make the same mistakes again. Best of luck.